Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Colin. I'm an English teacher working in Tokyo. I've been teaching English for nearly 20 years and I'm also a language learner. And something I've always found useful when learning a language is having somebody to listen to. TV shows, movies are great for language practice, for listening, but sometimes you just want somebody to talk straight to the camera. And that's what I'm going to try to provide in these videos. I'm going to choose a topic and I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to script my recordings. I'm not going to plan what I want to say. What I want to try to show you is how a topic will kind of naturally develop. What kind of mistakes do I make as an English speaker, and how do I correct those mistakes? How do I think? What do I say when I'm thinking about what to say? All these natural parts of language that you don't usually see when you're watching a video in a textbook, for example, or in a class. So that's the plan for this video, is to take a topic and talk about it naturally. So I live in Japan, I live in Tokyo. One thing people always think about when they think about Japan is sushi. So I thought that would be a good topic to start with. So my experience of sushi started quite late in life. I think I was about 25 the first time I tried sushi. These days, I think it's pretty widely available. You can buy it in supermarkets. There's restaurants in even quite small towns. You'll find sushi restaurants these days. But for me, growing up in the northwest of Scotland, there were no sushi restaurants. There were no places to buy sushi. So I'd never tried it. At that time, you could find sushi restaurants in big cities in the UK. So for example, maybe Glasgow and Edinburgh in Scotland, maybe they had sushi restaurants. Certainly in London, you could find sushi restaurants. But up in the countryside, up in the north of Scotland, you couldn't find it. So my first experience of sushi was coming to Japan. And I came to Japan in 2005. And when I would have sushi was with my classmates. So I had a Japanese class every Tuesday evening. And after class, myself and my classmates, we would go for sushi. And it was a little chain restaurant, really. Not a little chain restaurant. It's a big chain restaurant, but the restaurant was little. And we would go there every week. So we had a really nice kind of Japanese evening. Even though we lived in Japan, it's very easy to kind of just do Western things all the time. But having the Japanese class and then going for sushi afterwards, a chance to practice a little bit of Japanese with the staff, that was good. But as I said, growing up in the north of Scotland, I'd never had sushi. And to be honest, I didn't really like fish growing up. Obviously, the UK is famous for fish and chips, and yes, I would have fish and chips sometimes growing up, but I never really enjoyed it. One of the things about fish and chips is that the fish has quite a thick batter, and that can be quite oily, and I never liked the kind of oiliness of that batter, so I didn't really like fish and chips growing up. Salmon is quite famous in Scotland, but it's expensive. It's an export product. So salmon in Scotland can be quite expensive, especially smoked salmon. But the other kind of fish that was quite popular was a fish called herring. I always struggle to remember the word herring because where I'm from they don't call it herring, they call it scatan, which is a Gaelic word. But that fish is usually smoked, and it's incredibly oily, really, really oily. And yeah, like I said, it's just really, really smelly. So if you're cooking that in the house, at least the kitchen is going to be full of that smell. You need to have windows open to get the smell out of the house. But my dad loved it and still loves it. And basically you'd have a handful of boiled potatoes, and then you'd have some of this fish, this oily smoked fish in your hand, and you would just use your hands to eat it. It's quite a bony fish, so using your hands is probably the best way to eat it. And the other thing that I don't like is getting my hands dirty, messy when I'm eating food. Maybe that's when I learned it. Maybe that's when I started to connect kind of messy fingers with that kind of smelly, oily fish. But anyway, even today, I don't really like using my hands to eat. So that was my experience of fish growing up. Fast forward to me moving to Japan, and every week with my classmates we would go for some sushi. And at the start I was not very adventurous at all. I would maybe try a little bit of salmon, the nigiri salmon, so you got the rice and the slice of fish on top. And maybe I would try a plate of that, and then I would have the egg roll or whatever wasn't fish, basically. And that would be my meal for the evening. I'd drink the hot green tea and we'd have a nice chat. But as I said, not very adventurous. As I got a little bit more comfortable in that situation, I would maybe try a little bit of tuna. Maybe I would try some shrimp. Maybe I would try something else. And slowly I became more comfortable. Week by week, maybe I would try something new. And over time, I started to enjoy it. I started to be able to pick out the different flavors. I started to enjoy the texture of the sushi. Sushi is all about texture, a little bit about flavor, I would say. It's, again, coming from the UK, we quite enjoy food with quite strong flavors. Like spicy sauce, rich sauces. Japanese food in general, it's a much kind of lighter flavor. More about presentation, more about texture, more about balance of ingredients. But again, living in Japan, eating Japanese food daily, I started to understand this aspect of Japanese food. And fast forward to today, and I eat sushi quite regularly. My wife and I enjoy getting sushi probably probably once every 3 weeks, maybe once a month we'll have sushi. Obviously it's been difficult at the moment with the pandemic, so we haven't been going out to restaurants, but we have found a nice kind of restaurant near where we live that delivers sushi. So we get a nice kind of big dish of sushi delivered. Really nice quality, always very fresh, and it's presented on a nice big dish. And one thing that's quite interesting is after we finish the sushi, that dish, we can just leave it outside the door of our apartment, and the next morning a guy from the shop will come on his little moped and he will collect the dish and take it back. So that's kind of interesting. It's not something you'll see in the UK as far as I'm aware. So it kind of shows the level of kind of trust. No one's going to steal that big plastic dish. It's a nice dish, it's a good sized dish. But that's an interesting feature of that little restaurant that we get our food from. My wife is more adventurous when it comes to sushi. She will usually try anything that I'm not sure about. You know, if there's maybe some squid, I'm not a huge fan of squid. So if there's something that I'm not very confident about, she'll try it and check it, taste it. If it's good, she'll say, "No, this is okay, you can try it." But she's much more confident with trying new flavors, textures, things like that. So I've learned a lot from her, expanding my palate, my range of tastes. But yeah, sushi, it's definitely something that you should try if you do come to Japan. Going to one of these conveyor belt sushi restaurants, I think is a really nice experience. And just to see the quality as well. I mean, the quality of sushi here compared to other countries, it's night and day, I would say. Sushi is taken very seriously, and rightly so. It's an important aspect of Japanese culture. But the quality, the freshness of the sushi that you'll get here, and probably more importantly for me, put it this way, the big difference that I see between sushi in other countries and sushi in Japan is the rice. The quality of the rice. It's not just about the fish. I mean, sushi is actually the rice part, I think. So the rice, the vinegared rice, is a really important part of the sushi. And if you get that wrong, the balance of textures between that and the fish is kind of wrong. So good quality Japanese rice and the fresh fish, that kind of balance, that relationship is really important. And yeah, if you have sushi in the UK, for example, you might find that the rice is, or I would find that the rice is different, because I'm used to the sushi rice here. And yeah, you can't grow rice in the UK. So definitely try sushi if you come to Japan. There's so many foods that you should try when you come here. It's a real paradise, culinary paradise. So I think I'll finish this topic here. If you have any comments about this topic, you can leave them in the comment section below. If there are any topics that you would like to hear me talk about, again, leave a comment below and I'll try to make a video for you in the future. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you share it with your friends, give it a like, and be sure to subscribe for more of these videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.